Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Zoom with Tyler Warren. As always, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. We'll start with Tyler Donahue.
Thank you. Good morning, Tyler. How are you today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You guys got Khalil Dickens back in the mix against Bowling Green. He had a third down catch for a first down. I'm sure he's continued to work this past week. Can you kind of talk about what it means to get him back in the fold and what he can do for this tight end room and this offense moving forward?
Yeah, I think he's a guy who's got a lot of experience playing college football, not necessarily in abundance, but he has experience in game and stuff, and just having another guy who's an older guy in the room like that back and able to help us on the field is huge, and he can do a lot, as a tight end. So just having him in the offense is going to be good for us and just open up a few more things for us down the road.
Johnny McGonigal.
Tyler, thanks for the time. Much appreciated. On the topic of other tight ends, Luke Reynolds, we found out, a full green light for him as a true freshman. What has he shown you, through two games and in practice too, and on a day-to-day basis that has impressed you?
Yeah, I think his mental approach and his maturity that he's coming with at his young age is really impressive, and I think that's kind of his biggest thing. Obviously, he's a very good tight end already for a young guy. He can keep getting better, but he can make plays in the pass game. He's got the ability and the mentality for the run game, so he's going to do a lot for us this year. I know he's gonna be great down the road as a tight end as well.
Daniel Gallen.
Appreciate your time this morning, Tyler. But with Andrew Rapplier going down with a long-term injury, as a veteran, what do you kind of do to help him along through this, tougher part of his career? And how have you seen him respond to this sort of adversity right now?
Yeah, I think one thing about Rap is, his love for the game and his desire to get better is very obvious to everybody, he comes in contact with. So I'm not worried about him, and I know he's going to do it the right way. And, I'm just going to be here for him and be his teammate and his friend still. And I know he's going to handle it the right way and do everything he needs to do to take care of his body and himself. So I'm excited for him to get on that journey and, get himself better, but I'm not worried about him, or I don't think he'll lack in anything in that aspect of it.
Joe Smeltzer.
Hey, Tyler, thanks for the time. So Penn State's obviously had a recent lineage of strong tight end play with yourself being part of that lineage. What kind of relationships do you have with guys like Theo, Brenton, and Pat? And from what they've been able to do to help you out, how have you kind of used that now that you're in that veteran role to mentor guys like Luke and Andrew and make them better players as they're kind of getting started in their careers?
Yeah, I think obviously I have a great relationship with Pat, Theo, and Brenton. I played with all of them. Pat was my first year, and then Theo and Brenton I got to play a little bit more with, but I'm still in contact with all those guys, and they're still helping me. And then I think from my perspective, just first it starts with how I do things and doing everything the right way and leading by example, and then just being there for them when they have questions or kind of giving them little tips that might have helped me when I was in that position. So it's what it kind of just keeps recycling down through who's helping who and who's the older guy next. So it's fun to be in that older guy role and be able to help these guys because they'll be doing it for new guys pretty soon here down the road.
Max Ralph.
Hey Tyler, thanks for your time today. To piggyback a little bit off of that, have you gotten a chance to kind of reflect a little bit further about setting a program record your last time out and just kind of how much that means when putting it in the context that there have been a lot of really good tight ends here?
Yeah, it's obviously it's very meaningful to have that title in a room that's had so many great tight ends. But like I've always said, it really just comes with being the best tight end I can be and making sure the offense is working as well as it can. And that's kind of how it worked out that week. So I was very honored to be able to do something like that. But I was more happy we came out with that win in a tough game. But just looking to be the best tight end room we can be really is how we approach it every week. And with whatever comes with that will come with that.
Seth Engel.
Hey, Tyler, thanks for the time today. Drew Allars told us throughout the offseason and even into the early portion of the year that this is the most comfortable that he's ever been From your perspective, as one of his, targets, what exactly does that look like, and how does that appear on field?
Yeah, I think it's just it speaks to his preparation, how he carries himself, and a lot of that is on him. Putting in the work before the season and before we do all the stuff on the field is kind of where he gets his comfortability and confidence. And then as an offense, it's really just us getting reps with him and him being comfortable with the game plan and going through it all week and building a relationship since spring and fall camp. So I think it speaks a lot to his preparation and how he carries himself and gets himself prepared. And then kind of just as our offense, trusting each other and having chemistry is a big part of that as well.
John Petishnock.
Hey Tyler, when Tony got that interception against Bowling Green the other week, you came right off the sideline, congratulated him. You were pretty fired up, obviously. Just going against him in practice and seeing him, just over the last couple of years, Tony Rojas, how have you seen him improve as a player the last couple of seasons here?
Yeah, I think he's always been a great player, and he's had the natural ability and just kind of him, I think, feeling more confident and coming into that role where he's now the guy who's out on the field a lot has been good for him. He's embraced it. And I think that was one of the better interceptions I've seen out of any position. And Tony, it was a big interception, so I was excited for him and excited for the team. But he's been doing great, and he's a great competitor, and he's made me better. Working with him in practice, so that's been good. And I'm excited for him to keep growing this season.
Tyler Donahue.
Tyler, Drew Allars' average depth of target is about 4.5 yards deeper this season so far than it was last year. Can you feel the difference in this offense play to play in terms of the threat you guys present vertically and kind of those explosive plays, perhaps compared to last year when those were more far and few between?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely have. We made that a big goal going in this year was being a more explosive offense. I think we've done that well. I don't necessarily think it's really something we've been looking back and forth at between the years, but I'm definitely happy with the way the offense has been going this year. And I think our commitment to the explosive play, bringing that up has shown in these games, and I'm excited to keep building on it and just keep working on it through the season.
John McGonigal.
Yeah, Tyler, back to Luke Reynolds. I know you were a high school quarterback. He was a high school quarterback for a time. Do you see the comparisons there in terms of, his build coming in, and any advice or tips have you given him, as he gets on into his early stage of being a college tight end?
Yeah, I think he came in very far ahead than most tight ends I've seen come in as freshmen, including me. So really, I think the biggest thing now for his role is, having to step into games like this at that young age without a lot of experience can be kind of a, mentally hard on a young kid like that. So just really for me, trying to help him stay, level headed and not get too low or too high on the good and the bad stuff, I think is important for him. He's a great player, and I can obviously help him a lot just with teaching him things like that. But I think, the most important thing for him right now is being able to go out there and be calm and execute when his number is called. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing I've tried to focus on him with.
Daniel Gallen.
Tyler, what do you view as the next step for this offense? I know James has laid out some areas of improvement. He wants better efficiency, more plays, which means more touches. As you guys move forward into game 3 under this, what kind of stands out to you from your position at tight end?
Yeah, I think well, really just kind of as an offense, we talked about, staying on the field, which comes to third down, which I know Coach Franklin talked about earlier, which is, kind of a part where we lacked a little bit in the last game and something we can improve on because like he said, it's something we need to improve on. It helps us staying on the field. It keeps the defense off the field. So that's kind of something that'll help everybody. And, so third downs, I think, is a big point of emphasis for us this week going into practice.
Time for 2 more. Joe Smeltzer.
Hey, Tyler, following up on my earlier question, you mentioned that there were things that you had learned from the tight ends that came before you that you've passed down to this current younger group of tight ends. Is there anything specific that you remember them giving you, like, whether it's advice or just any points that they've tried to get across to you, like anything specific that you've made sure to hit home to some of the younger tight ends now?
No, I wouldn't say I have exact specific points because it kind of depends on the person. For me, I kind of like to just kind of watch them and observe what they were doing, and that was a big help for me. And then, when they would pull me aside, I would listen to what they were saying. So I try and just do that, and I'll ask for them for ideas, or ask them if something bothering, or I'll let them come up to me and ask me questions. So I think it's really just being there for them and being willing to help them. And they're old enough to where they can come up and ask me questions, and we can work together. So I don't think it's really like a set way of doing it, but that's kind of how I would say it's operated for me.
Seth Engel.
Obviously, the in-helmet communication has been a transition this year, and you guys have reverted to a huddle offense. What's that experience been like, just huddling up before every play? And if there has been an instance, whether Drew can't hear Coach K or something, how exactly does that work? Where does he look to, and what's his demeanor throughout that process?
I mean, for our side of the ball, I think it's been very smooth in games, especially. I don't even know if I've noticed any kind of hiccup or anything like that. And we have been huddled up, but we also have some stuff where we can still go tempo, speed it up. So I think it's been really well, and I honestly don't think there's been any mishaps or anything like that within the huddle or anything. So I think it's been very good.